Hey everybody, welcome to Lions Pride Tavern podcast number 62. Tonight we find out how we did in last week's raid. But before all that, let's start off with introductions. I'm your host, Stafford. I play a Dwarven Beastmaster Hunter in the awesome game World of Warcraft. Next up is JobUi.
Hi, I'm JobUi. I play a Worgen Frost Mage.
And Lorelei.
Hi, it's Lorelei, your Night Elf Fury Warrior.
And Epistle.
Hey, I'm Epistles, both 1 and 2. I play a Draenei Protection Pally and a Dwarven Protection Pally.
Yeah, I didn't want to throw you off by doing that whole split personality thing like I did last time.
we would really not like that.
And Tapachino is not with us again tonight. She is having a date night with her hubby watching a football game. Go whoever's against the Patriots.
Go, sports team.
I don't know who they're playing, but I know she's a Patriots fan, so I'll vote for the other side. That way they can end their season and then she can get back to us. So how'd you guys' week go? Anybody do anything special? I know in the States it was Veterans Day on Friday, or I guess it was observed on Friday, but it was actually Saturday.
I went and got my car fixed.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. Now I'm poor.
Yeah, those mechanics, I tell you, they really can be expensive.
That's an interesting coincidence. I got my car fixed on Friday as well, only the difficulty there was I drove it off the repair lot and then discovered just a couple hours later, that somehow the internal lights were not working anymore and the speedometer was dead, but only when I had the headlights on. And it's a new car, like it's a 2017, so it's like, what is going on?
I fixed my car by slapping the dashboard this week.
See, I should have hit it. I should have hit it.
You know, it's an older car, and like the left-hand side of the speedometer was, the light wasn't coming on, right? And so I took my hand and whapped the top of the dashboard, and the light came back on. I'm like, there you go. All right, it's fixed.
Yeah, I fix most of my things in life by smacking it on the dash.
Yeah, I'm afraid to do that to mine.
So, all right, well, I got my snow tires put on my truck after it got done snowing, and after 85,000 other people tried to put their snow tires on at the same time. So that was fun.
We had 2 days off on Thursday and Friday, and what I got to do was get really sick on Thursday and then be very sick on Friday.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, that's what I like to do with days off work.
Yeah, right, being sick.
Yeah, you even bugged out of the raid a little early, and we had to swap tanks.
Yeah, that hit me out of nowhere. I was feeling uncomfortable, but then it was an infection. But I suddenly had a fever and shakes, and I couldn't do anything.
Wow. Well, we're glad to hear you're feeling better.
Yeah,
getting there.
Better-ish.
Better-y? Yeah, better-ish.
Better-y. I like that, better-y. All right, well, JobUi, why don't you replay what we did this weekend?
Well, we started off heroic, as we have been for a while. We got through Goroth, Demonic Inquisition, Harsh Tan, went on to Sisters of the Moon, and I believe that's where Epistle bugged out from his nasty little sickness virus that was hitting him. And then we moved on to Mistress Zine, and we did a number of pulls on Mistress Zine, and then the last pull of the evening, pretty much. In fact, I think it was actually the last pull of the evening.
It was.
Tank went down, and we were getting really close to the end, and there's a mechanic in that fight that is going to wipe the whole raid if the tank gets too many stacks. I don't remember what it's called, Birds of Pain or something like that. And so I heard that, I watched the tank go down. We didn't have any more reses. We had just used it. So I called out in audible to Polat to taunt the boss. Polat taunted the boss, which was just enough to spread those stacks out, and we were able to finish off the boss by the skin of our teeth and get it down. Came back on Saturday, went after the Desolate Host, and spent about 45 minutes, close to an hour, working on Desolate Host, made some adjustments here and there. People got more used to the mechanics, and down to Desolate Host.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Ta-da! It was great.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was I think that fight is not horrible once the mechanics get used, or the people get used to the mechanics in it.
Yeah.
So and then once you get through that first phase where the little ads are coming and all those extra mechanics come, then it's just do the hokey pokey with the boss at the end, and that's pretty much it. So the last part of it's actually, I think, pretty darn easy by comparison to the rest of the fight. Moved on, made an vigilance, and it seemed like back in normal, where
Oh no.
where
It might take us a while.
Same thing, same problem.
Yes.
yeah, same crap, different difficulty level. We have a couple new mechanics which people are going to have to get used to, and then of course there's the jumping in the pit, which is a little bit different. People were trying to work on their timing. DBM was not getting them exact numbers or whatever. They weren't figuring out exactly when to jump in. People weren't dodging their throws and getting extra bombs. People were on the wrong side. People were grabbing the balls, the green and yellow balls, of the wrong color, instead of just staying on the line if they're not confident with that. There was a number of like, come on, get it together mechanic hiccups that happened, and we didn't get Maiden down. In fact, we didn't really get very far on Maiden. I think 2 transitions, was this 2 or 3 maybe, was about as far as we got on that fight. There's a couple of them that looked really good in the first transition part, and then we got to the second side, and then just things would fall apart and stuff. But more practice, and we'll get it, I think, eventually.
Well, and Warcraft was cheesy with me. I don't know if I had time to explain it during the raid, but at one point, I jumped in as I should have, and I got blasted back up, only I was just on the lip. And so I tried to use my 2-finger mouse push to move towards where I was going, wasn't moving, held it down and thought, okay, I'll hit the space bar to jump, and down into the pit I went.
Oh, you got caught on some little tiny lip on
edge. some cheesy something or other. Yeah, that shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Well, I know there was one time I jumped in, and I jumped in at the perfect time, and when it blew me back up, it blew me straight up. And I fell straight back down. I don't know what happened there, but I went right to the bottom. I mean, it was the weirdest thing. Never had that happen. I've done it dozens of times, and I was even high enough to get back on the platform, but it just went straight up, and I went straight back down.
Hey, would a Goblin glider work on that?
Probably.
I don't know.
I doubt. But
I don't know if you
Probably
could
not.
set it off inside that.
I think you might be able to. I know that I've seen other people use it in other parts of the raids, to like go down stairwells and stuff like that. But I don't know about it in combat.
Yeah, but I was gonna say that's not in combat though.
I know slow fall does take effect during that thing. But...
Oh yeah, and I've got that. Oh, I should have used that. I got that little toy that's supposed to slow your fall. I'll have to put that. I'll have to put that on my bar. I bet
that may only work outdoors though. That may only work.
Oh
outdoors.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to try it.
Maybe a priest that could grip somebody might be good to have handy too.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
And it was the only time it did it, because all the rest of the times I had to jump off, I jumped off and boom, came right back up. So
I got blasted across like the platform hole. Like I jumped in the hole, and I think somebody was jumping in the hole, like maybe right behind me or something. And theirs went off just as they jumped, and so then it shoved me across towards the middle. And then when I went backwards from mine exploding, then I just fell down the pit.
I wonder if that's what happened, because I was right next to somebody else, and theirs was about ready to go off. I wonder if that's what happened.
I don't know. But in any case, yeah, Maiden Vigilance was a bit of a mess. But I think it's just going to be one of those things where everybody's got to be really, really on point. They really, really get all the dance steps right and get used to them, it's because it's not that much different than normal. The timing on jumping in the pit's different. You got to dodge those swirlies, and you got to do spread and stack instead of just stack. But otherwise it's the same fight. So I think hopefully it doesn't take too long for people to get that cleaned up.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seemed like, we just went backwards 2 steps. We're dancing, and the next thing we know, oh, look, we're back to, you've got to change sides. I
Yeah.
sat there and watched somebody not change sides. It's like, so I don't know if they're from normal to this one. It's just been so much time difference.
Nah. It's just the
Or-
same problem. I wouldn't imagine so, because it was the same thing that we would run into back on normal, until I blew my gasket and just got mad at everybody because they kept screwing it up, and then everybody did it right. We got through it. I think it's just that same thing. It's just like people being lazy about mechanics. I sat there and watched somebody with the bomb, and they weren't even like in a group of people. There wasn't like there was a mass of people and they were confused about whether or not they had the bomb. They were the only person standing there, and they had the bomb and just stood there until the bomb went off. I was like,
No, I watched that happen a few times, yes. So I wonder if they just don't have your weak auras, because I know when that bomb comes up with your weak aura, it works perfect.
well, yeah, with the weak aura, it tells you got the bomb and stuff too, but Blizzard puts up a great big red circle above your head, that countdown timer thing. That's a default standard thing.
Yeah, and you can also set your DBM when you have the bomb to say run away, and that's pretty much a given about what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
And doesn't it
yeah.
make you grow larger too?
Yeah, it does. And
So,
if I'm not sure, I always take a step back and I step off to the side just to make sure I don't have it if there's a big melee group. But yeah, it's all about, people just have to stop. Now I wasn't there that night, but just from past experience, it's again a personal responsibility that people have to start paying attention to the mechanics and not wait. You've got to assume you have it, step aside, make sure you do or you don't, and then do what you have to do with it.
yeah, absolutely. And and that's just going to be the thing. On that fight, it's just going to have to be hey, do the mechanics. Don't wipe the raid, because that's literally what it comes down to in that fight. Because if somebody decides they're not going to do the mechanics, or they're not going to pay attention, it costs everybody. Rarely on that fight. About the only time it works otherwise is if a person just jumps into the middle and ends up dying alone or something like that by falling. But otherwise, there's so many ways they can mess everybody else up. They can put bombs on other people. They can blow other people up. It can screw up the whole group.
Yeah, on Sazine, tanks kind of wipe the raid by mistaunting. On Maiden, it's everybody has that opportunity.
Oh yeah.
Yes, definitely. So we did have a couple of comments. We had one comment on our not our Facebook, I'm sorry, our YouTube channel, and that was Lilith Alu. She gave us a pretty good rundown on Desolate Host, and that was the strategy that we tried. I'm not gonna read her whole thing, but basically, on Desolate Host, what we did is we put our better healers on the bottom, and some of our ranged on the bottom, because the heavier damage is on the bottom. And then we, I think we had just all hunters and like one or two melee DPS up top. And that seemed to work pretty good. I don't know. I think the biggest one was the little triangles that come out. Those, I still don't think people understand what you mean by, if you get it stack up next to the other one, because we filled up the room a couple of times.
Yeah, those swaths, those purple cones of silence across the floor, really, people still need to get those down. We had them coming through on the spirit side of the room. And
Yeah, and on the last poll, we got it done great because we started off way in the back behind the boss. And as we started coming out, the other ones were starting to disappear. And then everybody went up to the boss and jumped over him and started putting him back on the other side. And that worked. And we only had about half the room filled up. But
Yeah, I was thinking about that last night, and I was wondering if when that's about to happen, when we know that's those beams are going to start to come out and lay messes on the floor, it might be good to have all of our range move up against the wall, like all the way to the it looks like it's a drop-off point, but you can't actually jump there. So get everyone all up there, and then as they drop, gradually move as a group slightly left every time. You lose a little DPS when you run back, but that way we could be lining them up one after another, layering them over. A lot less damage if we did it that way.
Yeah, and I'm not worried about losing a little bit DPS in that fight. We are not running up against the Berserk timer. What we're running up against is people dying from mechanics. So
yeah,
we don't need to worry about stop and pay attention and do the mechanic right, because it's not going to kill our DPS to the point where we're going to start running up against a Berserk timer. So, I mean, it's not a problem to stop and do something else besides, casting or hitting or something.
Yeah, and we were having trouble with keeping people alive on the corporeal side because I think it was hard on the healers to be there because people kept running through those messes on the floor, and so we lost quite a few people to that. I kept watching people trying nobly to run across it to drop it on the other side and dying.
Yeah, I know. I had to go up to the corporeal side at least. I had to go up there twice, I think, from the spirit side, because I was stationed on the spirit side this time. And I ended up, when I went up there at one point, there was a lot of that purple mess was going across the floor. And there was an opening on the other side, back in that corner, where it would not be getting in anybody's way. And really, most of the rest of the corporeal side floor was covered. So I ended up blinking across it, actually double blinking across to the far side and hanging out in that open area until I dropped a little triangle of it.
Yeah, and then there's no problem over there.
Well, I noticed on one of the polls I got Spear of Anguish twice in a row, and I turtled through the first one, which I thought all the hunters knew you could turtle through that. That's why we moved all the hunters on the upper side and put the mages down below, because we were told that even with Ice Block negates the damage, but you still get put down below. Where the hunters, we don't get put down below. It negates it, and that's it. But if you're like Dizzy, he got it like 5 times in a row. And what he was doing is he was calling out for heals, and that got a little confusing. So until we talked to the healers and let them know, because I think Tap was really confused on, or maybe it was Faye, one of the two of them.
It was Tap.
Really confused when he was calling out for heals. She's like, I can't heal you, but it's not her because she was on the wrong side. She was on the corporeal side, but he was on the other side, on the downside.
Right.
And so Faye was healing. And once they got that figured out, I got one time where I got it twice, and when I got sent to the other side, I called for healing, and bam, bam, bam. I mean, it was just, that worked out really good. And that was one of the things Lilith talked about in her little write-up to us.
Yeah, I when that came up, I re-explained how that mechanic works real quick. And I think once Tap heard the re-explanation of that, she was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That's why. And there was a suggestion that was made that nobody or that people call for heals a particular way or whatever, but ultimately nobody else was really calling for heals, so ultimately we just made it so that if a person called for heals, that meant that they were sent to the spirit realm from the corporeal side by the way of that spear, and that they were going to need some healing, and that eliminated the confusion, and we got it done.
Yeah, that worked out really good because, like I said, the few times that I got it, I just turtled through it. I didn't have to bother even calling, so there wasn't a lot. But that one time when he got it like 5 or 6 times, when Dizzy did, he was just like, I need heals. And they're like, we don't know where you're at.
Yeah.
Well, that's weird also, because they should, someone who shows up in the different realm should show up on your UI bars.
Yeah, but I think Tap uses something
Well, they're
different.
Well, they show up as grayed out, like too
Yeah.
far away is what it would effectively be. Like out of range is how it should look on her toolbar. And I think it does. I think she was just confused and going, hearing somebody call for heals and being a healer, wanting to heal them, but not being able to. And there was just some confusion going on. And she's like, I want to heal you, but I can't. And I don't know what's going on. So we got that cleared up. The other thing we moved those mages, myself and there was two other mages on this particular run, and we moved us down to the spirit realm to help take care of those little ads that leave the green goop on the floor, and that did help, but there still needs to be more concentration on that, because I noticed a couple of times, when the ads would come out, and I was trying to take those, you get like 3 or 4 of them, and I was trying to take them out, and I felt like I was the only one who was attacking them, and so I had to call that out a couple of times. The little ads, kill the little ads, they're the priority. And then people would switch. But so there's still some room for cleanup, but at least we're getting through it.
Well, we've talked about that before, where people get used to what they're doing and not looking to see what's going on, and we get in the habit of calling stuff out, and that reminds them. And if we don't call it out, it doesn't remind them. So,
Right.
That's a good thing and a bad thing, because now they're depending on us to call it out for them to help out. Or, do they, pick their pace up a little by, looking and watching the fight instead of getting, tunnel vision on what they're doing.
Right. Another small change we made was we were having, like if a healer on the spirit side got withered, and then we would send them up to the corporeal side and had a healer from the corporeal side come down to the spirit side to take their place. We stopped doing that because we tested out just having the healer that gets the wither just stay up near the boss and to just put on a few extra heals and just try and heal through the extra damage. And while there was like some debate going on about it, we were running short on time, so I was like, all right, screw the debate. Let's just do the poll and try it, and then see how it works. If it doesn't work, we'll talk about it then. But let's see if it works. Let's just go. And there was hesitation about that, but we tried it, and it worked, and it did. And the healer was able to heal themselves just fine through the withered. So we stopped heal swapping from the withered.
Yeah. That was one of the other things Lilith talked about too. She said they don't do it. They have their healers heal through it during Wailing Souls and the Wither. So
yeah, and I still don't see a problem with sending DPS to the corporeal side. Like as long as the DPS that's being sent up, as long as the DPS that are going up there know what to do, it's not a problem. They need to know the mechanics for the corporeal side as well. But on this, in heroic, everybody should know both sides really.
Yeah, so let's give a little golf clap to Lilith, because that was pretty good.
Thank you, Lilith.
I don't know if that came through. That was my golf clap.
So, a bit of a thumping sound, but okay.
Thump, thump, thump. Yeah. It was
one hand clapping or something.
Yeah, one hand clapping. So, and then the other person that talked to us was Zero Cool again, but he pretty much told us stuff that we were going to make the change anyway. So, I really appreciate it, but, and I think I even told him that we'd already thought of that afterwards. We talked about it later. So, we're a good raid team that way. We roll with what we're doing, and we love suggestions. So any other fans, you can go to our Facebook page. You can go to our YouTube page. Lilith likes watching the video that Donna Bell does, and she's got an awesome intro now, guys. Have you seen that?
I have. Yeah, but we need to get her to redo it with the shoulders when she can get the shoulders fixed, because it's like, like that. My transmog is looking a little shoddy, whereas I'm going in there with no shoulders. Yeah.
She's working on it. I know. She said that was an issue, but yeah, I told her. I said, yeah, and she kind of gave me a frowny face. I told her, I said, what you should do is have them come up when I'm introducing them. She's just like, yeah, no.
She
was
doesn't
good enough
get
just
paid
to put it
enough
up.
for this.
Yeah, right. But yeah, it's really cool. It's got each one of our tunes in our latest garb, I guess. And
Yeah, I knew
Yeah,
that
that
was
was really
recent.
cool.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
if
could
you
tell
haven't
that
got
was
it,
recent because I had just changed my outfit right before she made that, and I was
yes.
like, "Oh, hey, that's my new outfit."
So if you haven't seen that, go to our YouTube page, check out. She does a drawing every week. Geez, what was it last week? I don't remember who it was, but she did it from like a back view of a. It's got to be. Well, it's a night elf, so it's got to be probably one of our druids, but looking over a sunset or something. It was pretty good. But she shows you the whole drawing as she's making it. That's pretty cool. We do have something new. JoBui found something new, or it's an actual correction, editorial
Yep.
correction.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I talked about the artifact knowledge level getting up to 50, and recommended folks go out and get their artifact power and get those weapons leveled up and whatnot. What I didn't know, I must have not noticed it in any notes or anything, must have missed it, is that apparently artifact knowledge is going up to level 55, not 50, which is pretty significant. It's something like 600 million% or something like that. It's quite a bit higher multiplier than 50. So right now, I believe we are at 51 this week. Artifact knowledge 51, and so that means in 4 weeks' time we will be at maximum artifact knowledge 55, at least maximum for now. Whether Blizz decides to extend that further, we'll have to wait and see. But for now, 55 is allegedly the new cap, not 50. So there's the correction.
Awesome.
Oh,
Very
I
good
did
to know.
find out that the thing that we're going to get to do earlier before the next expansion is the zone level, the expanded zone leveling, and the flexible expansion order for that. Where like Outland will become level 60 to 80, and so will Northrend, so that you can gear up and level up your alts just same way that we do our leveling up now for our mains. So I'm looking forward to that because you run through an area so quick on an alt that you don't get time to finish anything. So they're going to change up the levels.
Well, that's neat. So you could really go to whichever zone you kind of prefer and stay around there for a while.
Whichever zone you want to go to, and you can finish it up and still get your quests done and
So
all
if you
that
weren't
good
a
stuff.
big fan of, say, Cataclysm, you don't have to do it.
You don't have to do Outland ever again.
Oh, really? So they're doing so it's the level scaling for the zones, is what you're saying,
We're
right?
scaling everything. Yep.
Oh wow, that's pretty interesting. You know, I don't know if it's coming then, but I was reading more about the PvP switch. I don't know if you guys saw like that. You will be turning PvP on in the home cities, and we won't be able to turn it on when we're out and about in the world. But apparently, switching on PvP will give players an experience bonus as a reward for taking the risk of being able to be killed by other players when they're out leveling their tunes. So I wonder how soon they're going to flip that on. That would be probably a nice thing for people to have while they're trying to level alts.
Now, are they going to do that with all realms?
Yeah, all realms there will be no PvP servers anymore. They will just be every server will be a server, and you'll have a choice. You can either play the server in PvP or you can play the server in just PvE, and you set the switch for your character, and you set it when you're in the city, and then when you go out into the world, PvP players cannot attack you, and you cannot attack PvP players if you're set to PvE, and vice versa. So there shouldn't be any ganking going on. It's not like you'll be cruising along and like you can't be with like a group of people and then you see some horde running around nearby who's set to PvP and you can't all switch to PvP suddenly and beat them up, kind of thing. So it should reduce ganking a little bit, but it's kind of interesting what they're doing with that PvP stuff.
Oh, I didn't think it was really that big of a deal anyway, as long as you didn't. Of course, I've done this a dozen times now. I'll be in an area where we're running with hordes, and I'll accidentally target them, and then my pets go after him, and next thing I know, he's coming over and hitting me because I went PvP by attacking him because he was PvP to begin with. But I hate that.
Right. No, that can't happen anymore. And
That's good.
I think one of the other reasons why they are doing that, that I was reading about, is some players will create a character on a PvP realm, and then the population of that PvP realm changes over time. And let's say they created an alliance player on a particular server, and when they did, it was a fairly balanced population. But over time, let's say it became a primarily horde server, and they're PvP server, so it's not like they can turn it off. And they go out to go play, and they just constantly get jumped by tons of hordes because the population balance is so off. So what this does is it gives those players the opportunity to, continue to enjoy playing their character where it's an imbalanced server, just by simply turning off the PvP, and they can just play on that server as normal, kind of thing, without having to transfer.
So do we honestly believe that's why they did it, or was it because PvP isn't as popular anymore?
I don't know.
And they need to eliminate the servers.
Oh, I don't think that's the case necessarily, because they've got tons of servers.
Maybe they're just trying to reduce the number of servers, so they're just trying to take, what they can do and kind of just combine them and not have as many.
Yeah, well, I mean, the number realistically, the number of people shouldn't have changed unless people are getting disenfranchised with PvP. And I haven't done a PvP match in a while, but they have all these events and everything, but I never hear of anybody talking about, oh, let's go PvP. It's just not there.
Well, the circles we run in, but is there a way to track? Is there a way to track though the numbers of people on a realm, like any way that we can find? Blizzard knows, but I don't know.
I looked it up the other day actually, and the population from what I saw was roughly 58% of the population play on PvE servers, and then roughly 42%, a little shy of 42, and it was a little higher than 58%, but a little bit below 42% of players play on PvP realms, and that's what the population goes by. Yeah, there's a website called I think it's called Realm Pop, that you can look up data about your individual servers and WoW in general. It gives you like pie charts and combined data sets and stuff, and you can really look and see like what the populations look like in WoW. And and I was curious because I was like, well, I wonder if they're trying to accommodate the PvP players, or if they're trying to bolster PvP, or what. I was just trying to get a feel for where Blizzard was going. So I got curious about what the population was, and it was 58 to 42% basically, PvE versus PvP.
Well, that's interesting to know.
Yeah. See, I thought, there's a couple MMOs out there that are a little more popular for PvP, and Warcraft kind of died off a little as far as PvP, and that could have been with the executive people at Blizzard changed. I know the one that was in charge, it was more of a PvP player, but.
Well, I know they also just took some other steps, some pretty drastic steps. There was, I guess there was some bot programs, some third-party botting programs that were out there that were designed to build up players' PvP stats or something, or run them through PvP scenarios that there was a lot of complaining about. And Blizzard just recently took steps to completely block those bots and to shut down all ability for those people to do that stuff anymore. So they're like taking steps to remove bots, and I think they're trying to make PvP more attractive again, maybe.
Oh, that's cool, because I know as a fact there's no way those Horde rogues are that quick.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
made me stop.
I know,
every
right?
rogue in the
Yep.
game
Yep.
followed with a warrior, so that you get sapped, and then the warrior just tears you up.
I
Yep.
still get that, because I go and I do the PvP world quests sometimes, and on some of those are free for all. So I end up fighting against other alliance players actually, because it's just free for all. It's every man for themselves unless you're in a group. And I have, like so many times, I've had a rogue come up behind me and sap me and then one-shot me. And I'm like, where's the fun in that? That's
Yeah.
not balanced. You shouldn't be able to one-shot another player in PvP. I don't want to be able to one-shot another player. It should be a knockdown, drag-out fight. I had a fight with a druid tank versus me as fire mage one day in one of those places that went on for like 4 minutes. The two of us kept healing ourselves and using all of our abilities and just were neck and neck fighting it out until like I just barely killed him. And then like he came back and I like bowed to him and then he finished me off and killed me. So I was like, well, it was a good fight.
Nice. Yeah, I get it, and I'm the same way. It was just that's what turned me off from it, is there was always that one rogue that could do, and I'm sure it was a bot or he was using something like a programmable key or something that, it was just like zap, 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 zap. I'm dead. It's like, what the hell? Where's the fun in that?
Right.
I don't know, whatever. I guess
So-
you have to have a group to work
Yeah,
together.
I don't know. But yeah, so anyway, that's what I don't know if they're bringing that out too with the new stuff, but I did hear that is coming, at least with the new expansion. The PvP changes that I heard about.
That's cool. Anybody else hear any really cool changes? I know we got the new expansion coming out. I've heard mixed reviews about that. Of course, that's probably not till next year, closer to
Yeah.
Christmas, I would think.
Probably closer to summer. They usually come out during the summer somehow, or late toward the end of summer.
Yeah, I suppose summer. Yeah,
Yeah,
right when the kids get out of school.
I would suspect that's about when it's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been following news. I've just been playing.
I just keep hoping to hear that they're going to that they're going to give Worgens new models. That's what I just keep hoping to hear, but I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, that would be cool. They're a little goofy looking.
Yeah, some people have said they want them to stand up more straight, like less hunched over or whatever.
Well, but that's every werewolf. They're supposed to. They're a four-legged creature going 2 legs. I get it.
Yeah, I just think they need an update. I think they deserve an update. We're the only. I think we're the only race in the game that hasn't gotten an update. And I know that some people want new gnomes. I know Lorelei wants new gnomes.
I just want new gnome faces.
Yeah, but
Cute gnomes.
yeah,
I want the cute gnome back. Yeah.
Cuddly gnomes.
pretty.
There's only
pretty
one
gnome
face
girls.
I can use that's somewhat decent.
Gnomes like pets.
I'm telling you, the female gnomes' faces,
And there's the one that looks like it's 80 years old.
Russian women. That's what it reminds me of. Helga.
Oh, I hear the hate mail coming in.
Yeah,
now.
right. The Russian.
I think he
hate mail.
means like. I think he means like really old, like lived in like middle of nowhere Siberia,
Yeah.
rough around the edges, mountain women or tundra women. There you go.
Mountain women. Tundra. Yeah, at least with the humans or the night elves or, the dwarves, even the dwarven women aren't bad looking. There's a couple that need some beards, but that's because dwarven men like dwarven bearded women. Right?
Yeah,
Well,
I guess.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, dwarven women are supposed to have beards anyway, according to Tolkien.
Yeah. That's where I was going with it.
Oh, okay.
You're trying to.
Yeah, trying to. So, all right. Well, one of the other things we knew we added to our podcast, guys, is I went ahead and put our podcast on an advertising website, and it's called advertisecast.com. So if anybody on our fans or anybody knows looking for somebody to, somewhere to advertise, you can advertise on our podcast. Just go to that website. I'll have the link in the description below. You can go to that website, and it'll have the prices and length of ad and all that. I'm not sure how it's all going to work because we don't have one yet. So hopefully we'll get one out of this. But if you know of anybody, let them know. Tell your friends about us. We always like to grow our fan base. So, well, guys, it's we got 20 minutes left. I suppose we could, unless you guys got something else to talk about. Nope. Okay.
Crickets.
It's kind of a slow week, don't you think?
It
I
is.
mean, I really think it is that way because of BlizzCon. We have the Goblin Goldcast hasn't been doing any podcast because they were at BlizzCon. Charity wasn't raiding with us because she was actually at BlizzCon and met Dex and Mac from the Goblin Goldcast. They had all sorts of pictures, drinking ale, frosty mugs of wine and stuff. So,
The only other thing that happened for me this week was Blizzard randomly gave me a copy of StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm. They just sent me an email and were like, hey, you played the Wings of Liberty, so here, have a copy of Heart of the Swarm on us. I'm like, okay, thanks, Blizz. That's very nice of you.
Yeah, that's cool. Did you play it?
No, I haven't. I haven't played it yet. It was just a couple days ago that they gifted it to me, and I haven't gotten around to playing it yet. But I do intend on playing it. I really like StarCraft. I just never really got. I never got around to buying the expansions beyond. I bought StarCraft 2, the Wings of Liberty, and then I didn't play. I didn't get the Heart of the Swarm or the next one, which I forget what it's called. It has to do with the Protoss, but.
Yeah, I got into the whole Blizzard genre because of RTS, because I played the original Orc versus Human. Absolutely loved it. I would sit there for 10 minutes just clicking on my peon just to hear him say, yes, me lord. What is it?
Ready to work.
Ready to work. I mean, and then I had to play the orc side to see what they would do. They had like Zug Zug. And then you get into World of Warcraft and you hear all those out there, time is money, my friend. Those all came from the RTSs.
Sure.
But I have to be in the mood to play an RTS. I don't know about you guys. I can play World of Warcraft all day long because it's one person. With an RTS, you got an army and you got to build stuff. That's what I really liked about Orcs versus Humans is that you had to start off chopping wood. They actually have a website. Unfortunately, it was in Russia, but you could play the original. And then I remembered why I didn't like playing multiplayer, because I did that. I joined their server. You get the game for free. You start playing, and I realized, oh yeah, there are those guys out there that know exactly what to build, when to build it, and how to attack you within the first 30 seconds of the game starting.
No, I only play PvE. I don't like to play other players in those games because seems like they're all pros or
right?
bots or something, and I'm like, no, dude, I'm still collecting. You're killing me. I'm trying to collect resources. Stop.
I know they send like 3 guys over, and you've got 2 peons, and they send 3 soldiers. It's like,
And I'm just like collecting stuff so I can build a building, and they've already like built a whole base with turrets and stuff, and they're sending armies out to destroy me. And I'm like, I don't even want to know what you guys are doing. But yeah. I play against the computer. I play against AI. I have fun with that.
I originally, that was one of the Orcs versus Humans was what got us started in our LAN parties. We actually had the coax cable modems.
Oh man.
Yeah, so you had to string the coax cables between each computer and then try to use DOS to network them all together just to get the game to work. That's how far back I go. I mean, that was... Whew.
People don't realize today how hard it used to be
Yeah.
to do stuff like that. Not to mention, I mean, like back then, monitor weighed a good 50 pounds.
Oh,
You know,
Jesus.
like they were so heavy. You know, they were ridiculously heavy, and like, I mean, it just back then, if you bumped your computer the wrong way, your hard drives are messed up, and then
Yep.
networking and DOS was just horrific, and then everybody had to have the right versions of their drivers, and there was no internet. There
No.
was really...
Oh, it was funny because we would bring, I built a sling to be able to carry my desktop tower and my monitor on the same thing. So I could just, I wrapped them all up together in this sling and I'd carry it. And then my buddy was like, "Oh, what do you got? Like a 14-inch monitor?" I just got the 17. Ooh. I know, right? And it weighs 50 pounds more than yours.
I had a 21-inch that was weighed like 80 pounds. It was ridiculous. It was graphics monitor back in the day. And then I also had a Hitachi Super Scanning Elite 751. That was like the monitor back in the day.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hear the music. It's time for Lorelei's Pet Battle Minute.
Hi. Now that BlizzCon is over, there was surprisingly little information about pets. However, Wowpedia was able to interview developer Jeremy Fiesel, and you'll find him at the Darkmoon Fair, and learn that pet dungeons will continue to be a thing. He said that there were plenty of pet models being developed, one of which is a big, fluffy cat munching on a fish. He didn't elaborate on where this pet would be found or exactly what it is, but those of us who love pets definitely have something to look forward to. And news from the beta is that a new item has surfaced called Stern Fathom's Journal. The journal summons a shipwrecked captive who offers up a weekly quest. Completing the quest will reward you with 4 pet charms. No word on how this will be introduced in the game, but it's an interesting take on the daily Pet Tamer World quest. And I've been playing around with Zufu's Pet Strategy Guide, and they have some interesting sections to explore. One is the Legion Ready Checker, found in the Legion drop-down tab. Here you'll find lists of which pets you'll need to complete the family-friendly achievement and which pets that you have that need to be maxed. Seems like I have some work to do. But that's part of the fun of pet battles. And that's all your pet news for today.
And then there's
Getting Deeps with JoBui.
What to wear, what to wear. How on Azeroth am I going to decide what to wear to the raid? Well, there are a few tools out there ready to help you figure out what you ought to be wearing to the next raid. First, the add-on Pawn. Pawn comes with preloaded stat weights generated by AskMrRobot.com. Pawn uses those stat weights to compare gear to what you're currently wearing. So if a belt in your bag, or in the adventure guide, is better than the one you're wearing, it will show a green arrow on the icon for the item and tell you what percentage it is better than your current gear. Taking Pawn a step further, you can generate your own custom stat weights using Simulation Craft. Do a search on Google for generating stat weights in WoW, and you'll find explanations on how to do that. Generating your custom stat weights will give you an even more accurate idea of which gear is better when using Pawn. Another way is to load up your character on AskMrRobot.com and click the piece of gear you're considering replacing. Ask Mr. Robot will show you gear that it thinks would be better for you than what you're currently wearing, and what is worse as well. Just do a quick search in that list for gear for the item that you're considering as a replacement and see how it compares. Last, there's experimentation. You can simply put on that piece of gear and see if you think you're performing better or worse. However, this method can be a little tricky and misleading at times because of the randomness of things like crits and procs affecting your DPS output. But if you're very familiar with how your character performs, you might be able to notice a difference that one piece of gear can make. Using these methods can cut back on how difficult it is to decide what to wear to the raid. So get those outfits worked out and transmogged, and keep getting those deeps.
and our tank and address.
What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking? What's wrong with tanking in a dress?
For today's Come At Me a Tanking Minute, I want to talk about spinning to win, or tanking in a circle. As a tank, if you can visualize or imagine a fight in a geometric pattern, and you actually know where you're going to go, where you're going to be in the fight, you've got a much better chance of working efficiently, not only for yourself, but also for your raid group. So today I want to talk about one of the simplest patterns there is out there, which is circle. Ultimately, you want to keep your patterns as simple as possible, but there's so many fights where the simplicity of a circle is the best way to go. Blizzard often messes things up for us, gives us little smoke and mirrors to try to keep you guessing about what to do in a particular fight, especially when there's a new expansion. But sometimes the fight's just the same old dynamic as it's always been. That's why one of my favorite ones to work on is kind of the clock mentality. So if you think of a clock and you're approaching the boss, you're probably approaching at kind of 6, 12 being the far side of the boss. 3 is to your right and 9 is to your left. What you're going to do usually is starting at 6. Now, if the boss has a kind of a frontal cone mechanic and it's going to hit people, and often if you don't know, best thing to do is to move it so the boss isn't facing the party. That's almost always a great thing to do. So if you start at 6, learn to rotate to 3. Now here's the trick. You don't just run in a straight line, you don't turn your back to the boss. You have to kind of get comfortable with the side straddle, almost moving in that kind of arc as you move from 6 through to 3. You have to figure where the hitbox is, kind of fine-tune it a little bit, but knowing that you can move to 6 to 3 pretty smoothly is going to be one of your basic moves as a tank. Sometimes the boss fight is as simple as 6 to 3 to 6 to 3, back and forth. One of the great reasons you want to use a strategy like this is it's absolutely fantastic for melee DPS, because they can move in and they can fight and they don't have to run around. They're not running in all kinds of random places because you aren't. So just 6-3, 6-3 could be very, very simple. Today I was running, for example, a King Deepbeard. And I noticed that for all the fancy bells and whistles damage that's coming out, really from a tank's perspective, all you're really doing is just that 6-3, 6-3 pattern. So if you have a few of those basic patterns in your kit bag, we'll cover a few more in the next few weeks. That's all you really need to know to be tanking most bosses in World of Warcraft. And that's Come At Me a Tanking Minute.
And it's WFN News, Warcraft Stafford News. The Neither Disruptor is up next at the Broken Shores. It has Epic Hunter and Seal Your Fate. If you need an extra token, this is the 3 days to get it. So get out there and get your extra Seal of Fate. The weekly event is Battlegrounds. Whatever that is, I don't know. The most exciting, and the WoW tokens, look at that. So during BlizzCon, they're at 187, and this week, now that BlizzCon's over, 174. They dropped, yep. So my advice of going out and getting your tokens last week was just to generate revenue for Blizz. You're welcome, Blizz. 13 years of playing WoW. It's their anniversary on Thursday. Wow, oh my God. That's like $2,400 just for my account. And I have 4.
Yeah.
I could have bought
I
a
hope
car.
they give us a pet.
They better give you something. I could just give them $2,400 for the last 13 years. Yeah, I had to figure that one out. I just went $15 a month, 13 years, 12 months. Oh my God.
That is a lot.
But
it's almost depressing.
It's something we love, so you can't take it with you, right? So
yep. That's I'll give it to somebody else.
Yep. All right, so let's see where we're at in the Millionaires Club. So I'm at 1.4 now. JoeBui?
I'm floating at about $1 million right now because I've spent a lot of gold this week. I made a new rule for myself, which is I can't buy anything off the auction house if it's going to put me under $1 million.
Yeah.
And so I've been buying stuff. Like I bought a belt for like 120,000. I bought a pair of gloves for like 25,000. I bought some other stuff here and there. I think I would be at around like 1.3 roughly if I hadn't spent the gold I spent this week. But I'm currently sitting at just over a million. I've got 1,033,000 right now.
Nice. Yeah, I kind of did the same thing, so I'm never dropping below 1 million again.
No, I'm going to be a WoW millionaire from here on out. I don't think there's anything that could tempt me to spend that. If I want to buy something, I've got to save up for it above my million. Cause,
I wonder if real millionaires do that. All
Yes.
right, we hit 1 million. Now we're never going to spend that money.
yeah,
We're going to go below that.
One of my friends, when I mentioned that to him, he posted an animated GIF to me of Scrooge McDuck diving into his pool of gold.
And how about Lorelei?
I'm at 1,086,000. I'm going slow, but I'm trying not to spend any either.
Yep. Yeah, once you drop below that million mark, it's like, oh, it's like my heart sinks.
980,000 is so little. Oh, I'm broke.
And Epistle, have you joined the Millionaires Club yet?
No, I'm thinking I'm around 175,000. Every time I can buy a token, I do.
There you'll see. I would have been more, but I bought another token, and I thought I'd bought one earlier in the month, but I couldn't remember, so I just bought another one. And then when I cashed in, it was like, "All right, you're paid up through January." It's like,
nice.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just have to start earning money. I want to tell you a secret, though, guys. You know that one little coin in not misspent area. The last one. What was the last expansion?
Warlords of Draenor.
Warlords of Draenor. The one that gives you the 30% bonus to experience for 15 minutes. I have been selling those for 72,000. I had to look. 72,000 a piece.
Oh, wow.
And I had saved up. I had 35 of them.
Wow.
And I just sold my last one. I'm completely out of them now.
No, there's just weird
Wowee.
things that you can sell. I sold this random potion that I found in one of my Tunes bags for almost 40,000 gold. I'm like, who would buy that for 40,000 gold?
Weird.
I deleted Tunes this weekend. That's why I didn't do too much. I just decided I went through all my other servers and I said, I'm not playing this tune. So I took all the gold that I had and I bought battle pets with them. Nice. And when I couldn't afford that, I bought transmog gear. And I bought about 10 or 12 pets and just...
I'm sorry, but deleting tunes just feels like murder to me. I can't.
I murdered left and
digital
right.
Murder. Speaking
I still have tunes.
Tunes on other servers. When I got that StarCraft game, it was actually for, like, I had this other Blizzard account, right? And it got hacked a long time ago, like back, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago or something like that. And then I don't think I really used that account after that. I kind of just left it there. And I ended up with a different Blizzard account and everything. And I had a copy on there, and it was like for Warlords of Draenor, and I don't even remember putting it up to Warlords of Draenor or anything like that. So, but it was, time expired, obviously. And I worked with Blizzard customer service and had them consolidate my two accounts and move that other copy of World of Warcraft to my standard account that I use. And then I asked the customer service, I said, hey, can I have like an hour of game time so I can log into that and just see what's in there? Because I don't know what's in there. And I thought, ooh, maybe I'll find some of my old tunes and I'll get all nostalgic about my old tunes or something. And they were like, sure, you can have a whole day. And I'm like, oh, thanks, customer service, that's great. And then I logged into it, and I had no tunes on any server on that account. Zero tunes. And I was like, oh, this is totally not nostalgic.
Kind of blew the whole thing, huh?
Yeah, well, I thought maybe I'd have some some old tunes that I used to play on there. Maybe they'd be wearing some gear that would add to my transmog library or something cool, or I'd remember this old tune and go, oh yeah, that tune. But no, there was nothing in there. Nothing at all.
Yeah, I went through my old tunes and deleted a bunch because I had to make room in order to make a gnome for the gnome race. And I was like, what? Who made this tune? Then it dawned on me. My daughter had actually played mine before we got her account. We did the same thing with my son. We made him play our account when we weren't playing it in order to see if they're going to stick with it. Because, you're throwing out $15 a month, and if they play it once a week, or once every other week, it's not getting the most for their money,
Sure.
And I found this tune. I was like, I don't remember this tune. I logged into it. I started looking at all of its stuff. I'm like, who made this tune on my account? And my wife's like, oh, yeah, that would be your daughter's tune. Oh, okay. Because I couldn't remember. I thought I was losing my mind.
Yeah, I had to go through and delete I had another JoBui on another server, another tune called JoBui. I had to go delete him because part of my money-making thing is I have my alts do their champion missions, and then I mail the gold off to JoBui, like once a week or so. And because he's where I store most of my gold. And every time I'd go into mail to mail it to JoBui, it would autocomplete, and it would show me the other JoBui on the other server in the autocomplete thing in the mail section.
Annoying.
And I got so annoyed with it, I was like, all right, that's it. I have to go destroy that other character. And so I logged out and deleted that other character, and I was like, now my mail just goes autocomplete to the only JoBui.
That's funny because my daughter had two characters, one named Chantala, and then the other was Chantaluz with an S on the end. So if you had to, and the one with the S on the end was her main, so you had to type out the entire thing and put the S in before you could send it to her. It was really annoying. So my wife one day, she just goes, name change.
There you go.
And changed the name. My daughter was so mad.
Oh, no. How dare you change my WoW character's name?
But she's good with it now.
Well, that's good.
So, all right, guys, that's time. I would like to thank Charm for all of her beautiful music. Please go visit her website and YouTube channel. Her links are in the description below. BenSound at bensound.com, and our newest music from Vincent Moretto. All their descriptions are in... No, I said it again. All their descriptions. All their links are in the description below. I'm not putting that one as a blooper. That's just staying in there. Because that way I don't even have to edit this one we did so well.
Yeah, no bloopers.
No bloopers. All right,
Well,
guys.
Tap wasn't here, so.
Ooh.
Oh! All right. T-Tap,
She's going
that's
to get
what
you now.
get for
Yeah,
not
well, she's got to
being
show
here.
up to get me now, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's got to
exactly.
show up to get you. All right, guys. We'll see y'all next week. Thanks for coming.
Thanks,
See ya.
everybody.
Have a great night.